Hi, welcome to Planetary Calendars, Astro Portraits. I'm Ralph Dimitrius, one of the calendar's astrologers. This is part of our musician series, and the artist this time is Shakira. She was born on February 2nd, 1977 at 9:30 a.m. Barranquilla, Colombia. She is born with the sun at 13 degrees Aquarius. She has 6 degrees Aries Rising and the moon in Cancer. Her chart is so different from some of the other musicians that we have featured. And we're trying to do these little short videos and focus on specific things that are found in all these different artists, and yet she is really quite unique. When you look at the chart, you have Aries Rising. This is a person with a lot of physical energy. I mean, you really feel that, that martial energy. And she has Mars in Capricorn, highly elevated, conjunct Mercury. So there's a certain youthfulness. It's Mars and Mercury together. Mars and Mercury are the kids of the zodiac, and they're together in Capricorn, the sign that's considered, related to, old age, but, maturity. But Mars in Capricorn is the exalted position. It's a real strong position, and it goes back to that rising. But also at the rising is Venus. So she comes across very much as a girl, very feminine, but very martial. This is a position that's found in Rihanna's chart too. If you look at a lot of pictures of Rihanna, there's red all over the place. And she loves dressing in red. It's these women who have very strong personal energy. And she has great physical endurance, which is found in that Mars in Capricorn. Mercury in Capricorn, it gives a great youthfulness to it, okay? The thing that's interesting about this is that she has the moon in Cancer. She's a very nurturing person. It's in its own house, in the fourth house, conjunct Vesta, the flame. So she has a very strong connection to her female lineage, to her mother, to her grandmother, to her great-grandmother, to all of those, the abuelas. She has this very strong lineage, and that's opposite the Mars. The moon is exactly opposite the Mars. That combination are opposite the Mars, Mercury. So this is a challenge to her, And then these are square to the south node. So it's reincarnational to the nodal axis. It's reincarnational. And the fact that, when you get the nodes conjunct the ascendant, the descendant, this is very reincarnational, and it gives a very strong connection to the female line. She probably reincarnationally has had a life of music again and again and again with other women. Working with other women is very important to her. Okay? That moon in Cancer is powerful. In many ways, it's more powerful than that sun up in Aquarius. But the sun in Aquarius in the 11th house is a strong position, but for a funny reason. When we work with the dignities, right? Everyone thinks, oh, my son's in Leo, I'm ruled by, my son's in Leo, it's ruled by the sun. No. The dignities, every planet, every body has 6 dignities, okay? They show the different roles that you play. And you're not always on stage. You're not always home. And the home life and the social life are both important. The thing about when you have planets and dignities, it's the places where you're most identifiable. So she has Venus and Aries rising. Venus in Aries is what's called a detriment position. It's a personal position. It's the opposite of Libra. Libra is the social position. Venus in Aries is very personal. It's her personal energy, her personal Venus, right? It makes her very relatable because people can identify that. She's not the very graceful, girl. She's the girl with a lot of energy. She's the girl on the skateboard. People relate to that, especially people who like skateboards. They relate to that. The moon in Cancer, it's the mother position. It's nurturing. So anyone who has strong mothering energies relates to that. It's very identifiable to her. The sun in Aquarius, that's a detriment position. It's opposite the rulership position, the most social position, the sun in Leo. It's considered a weak position. It's not weak. It's personal. It's in the 11th house. It means that in the outer world, she's very sensitive to the whole group. And there's people who can relate to that. It's actually very identifiable. Mars in Capricorn, another dignified position. It's the exalted position, the best friend position. It's the person you turn to when you need a hand. I got to move some furniture. Come help me. I'll show up. She'll show up, right? all these positions, all these positions, even the Saturn in Leo, Saturn in Aquarius is the most social position. Saturn in Leo is the personal position. You know what means Saturn in Leo means? I am the king or queen of my own castle. It's a personal position. Once again, a very identifiable position. Okay. What's interesting, even the Mercury is not in a rulership position, but it's conjunct Mars. And when you have a planet that doesn't have a particular dignity, but is conjunct a planet that does, it's like, you're going someplace where you don't speak the language, but you're going with your cute cousin who does. Suddenly you're connected well. You're with the right clan, and she has that quality. Then all around this stuff, one planet that's not there is Jupiter in Taurus, the sign of the voice, right? In the second house of natural talents. She has Jupiter, the biggest, strongest planet, in the house of the voice, in Taurus's, the second house's own sign of natural gifts, Taurus of the voice. She has a naturally powerful voice with tremendous endurance because it is trine by sign to the to the Mars. Mars, Mercury, trine, Jupiter, from the 10th house, a career house, to a natural resources house. It's powerful. This is a person who just had great natural gifts. And yet it's funny that, normally we look for, what's Uranus doing? Where's the sizzle come from? But her Uranus is all by itself in the 8th house in Scorpio, 11 degrees. Juno is up at 25 degrees. But it's not directly related. There's a trine between that in Vesta. There's a loose trine between that in the moon. There's maybe a loose trine to the Mercury. There's a square to the sun. And that may be the factor here, because it is part of a big T-square. It's not a cross so much as it is be loosely an X, a big cross, but it's really a big T-square. These big T-squares in the chart are motivating. It goes from the sun is opposite the Saturn, and they're both square the Uranus. And this is the same configuration, or very similar to the configuration that Sting has, where Uranus is the outlet for this Sun-Saturn opposition that they've got going on. Those two are kind of challenging each other, both in like each other's signs. Saturn's in the Sun's sign, the Sun's in Saturn's sign. It's called a mutual reception, and they're both square the Uranus, and the Uranus is loosely opposite the Jupiter. So this was the tool that she used to make things happen. This big opposition, these conflicting things in her personality. These were the squares and the oppositions that she used to change her world, to get leverage over her world. And that's where the Uranus works for her. But it's not obvious in terms of she arrives and it's the sizzle. It's that Venus at the rising. She shows up and she's fearless about engaging people. This is a quality that Rihanna has. They show up in a situation, they are fearless about engaging people, which you have to be if you're born in Barranquilla, Colombia, and you want to rise to the top of the music world in the United States, right? So true. But that's the chart of Shakira. Fascinating chart, part of our music series. And we gave her a little bit more time, but it is a very different chart from the other charts that we've seen. So please come see us at Planetary Calendar Astrology on YouTube. We do these portraits every Tuesday. We do our forecasts on Friday. Please subscribe and push that little bell, because if you do that, you'll get reminded when the forecasts come up, and then you can use it with the planetary calendar that we publish that you can find at planetarycalendar.com, because that way you really will know what's going on. Enjoy.